15, 16 days from now, the youth of the world will gather in Rio, Brazil, for the 2016 Olympic Games, tagged Rio 2016. Is Nigeria ready? Is Africa ready? This is what I'm going to be discussing today. Welcome to Point Blank. My name is Patrick Omosagi. I just said, in a few short weeks, 2 weeks at the most, the world will gather in Rio de Janeiro for the 2016 Olympic Games. The Olympics is the height of sports performance, of sports generally, for any athlete to want to compete in. And Nigeria or Africa seems to be ill-prepared for this big sporting event. Now, why do I use the word ill-prepared? Just going by from what we hear and read, money for the Nigerian contingent to prepare is going to be released sometime this week, barely 2 weeks before the event. How does that happen and how does that work? People say you have 4 years to prepare for the Olympics, but Nigeria never seems to be prepared for the Olympics. We seem to just go along with how things happen. I'll take a quick break. When I come back, I'll give you a depth analysis of what the issues are and what we should start to look to in preparing our athletes, just not for the Olympics, but for major sporting events. So welcome to Point Blank. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Let me remind you, as usual, my Twitter handle is PJ Osagi. And you can watch this program anytime, anywhere on MBCLiveTV.com. I said I was going to talk about the Olympics and Nigeria's preparation. I use Nigeria really because what Nigeria is doing, most African countries, obviously except South Africa, is probably not doing what we're doing. They always seem very, very well prepared. And they have a program that actually gets athletes ready over a longer period. I know a lot of Nigerians, especially the media, actually confused about how you prepare people for the ultimate competition, which is the Olympics, which comes every 4 years. Let's remember very clearly, Nigeria won absolutely no medal in London, 2012. After that, the government of the president at that time, Goodluck Jonathan, set up, he hosted what he called a sports summit. It was actually chaired and convened by the then Minister of Finance, Okonjo-Iweala. She actually hired a reputable consulting firm, McKinsey & Company, which is one of the most respected consulting firms in the world, to put together that summit. What was the bottom line on the summit? That Nigeria should prepare better. Everybody knows that. 4 years later, 2 weeks to go, money hasn't been released. And just today, the president of Nigeria, the present president, Muhammadu Buhari, addressed the contingent going to the Olympics. He was doing this when he was being presented, or when the federal government, through the Ministry of Sports, is presenting the athletes to the Nigerian Olympic Committee, who now takes over from the government. He told us that no government worker should attend the Olympics if he has nothing to do there. It sounded like a great, great suggestion. But this is what we all know already. If you have nothing to do somewhere, why do you want to go? Why should the government spend money on you? Well, he said it, but he shouldn't have said it and let people go that have nothing to do, and then you can come back and then, either fire them. But that's an aside. What I really want to discuss about, why do we have problems or issues in preparations? What do we understand by preparing athletes for a very serious event like this? A lot of people, especially the sports media, they believe it takes 4 years. It doesn't take 4 years. it takes 10 years to prepare an athlete for the Olympics. It's the ultimate competition. You know, when we think that once, you read this all the time, at the end of an Olympics is when you start preparing for the next. That's a cliche. That's not how it happens. You start preparing from the time you're 12 or 13. As an individual dreaming about being part of the Olympics. That is what we need to instill in our Nigerian youth, in our Nigerian athletes, that it's about them and not about the country getting them ready for the Olympics, because it's all individual effort. I'm going to take another quick break. But this time, while I'm away, you should see, I'll present to you some graphics about Nigeria's participation in the Olympics since we first attended. So I'll be right back. Welcome back. My name is still Patrick Omo-Osagi. I'm here again this Thursday on Pointblank. I'm sure it's become your favorite talk show program. Here where I really sit, make analysis of issues in Nigeria, in Africa, and around the world. Giving you my own very clear point of view on how I see things. Today, like I said, I know you've already heard, I'm talking about the Olympics, Nigeria's preparation. Are we prepared? Do we know what preparation at this level really means? And that's really what I want to talk about now. To prepare for the Olympics is not something that we call a 4-year thing. It's not 4 years. It is an individual effort that starts at a time when a young man or a young lady believes he or she has the talent or the desire to pursue a sport to what we call elite level. It's only elite athletes that go to the Olympics. I don't like being personal here, but I'll give you an idea. My nephew, at the age of 7, 8, was a fantastic swimmer. He won all age group swimming competitions in Illinois for many years. At 13, his parents got a letter from the USA Swimming Association or Federation telling them they have watched or kind of monitored their son for the last 3-4 years. And that if he continues and do the right things, that he will be at this year's 2016 Rio Olympics. Even at the time they wrote this letter, Rio hadn't been named as a city. We just knew there was an Olympics for 2016. They said he'll be at... That year, he was 13. This year, he turns 23. Now, obviously, he's no more a swimmer. But I bring this out that as far back at the age of 13, the Swimming Federation had spotted him. What was in the letter? It was very simple. If your son wants to be at the Olympics, we're suggesting to you some of our trained, certified swimming coaches within your area here in Illinois that you can hire. They didn't say they were going to hire him for you. They said that you can hire and pay for this kid to become an Olympic swimmer. Of course, he eventually went to play basketball and American football. But what I'm trying to tell that this was 10 years ago. Like I said, he'll be 23 this year. That is how it works. The preparation to become an elite athlete, it's not 4 years in the making. It's a long time and it's all individual based. Nigeria has become a country that we depend on government for everything. The government has to buy you running shoes. The government has to feed you because you're running for the country. We don't have that kind of money. And even if we did, it has taken us nowhere. We have pampered our athletes and done all types of things for our athletes. I keep saying, if an athlete wins a gold medal, what has that got to do to the market woman on the street? Nothing. It's the same thing. Those of us in America today barely know that America is going to participate at the Olympics. It's of little interest to us because, like I say, sports is really fun. It's playtime. And a lot of people have, I'll put it this way, a lot of better things to do. There's a lot of money in it. In today, even in America, sports is the fastest or the continuous growing part of the economy that has had nothing really disturb it. The money in sports today all around the world is huge and it keeps growing. But that doesn't mean government or the Nigerian government should get involved. It is high time the government understands. It's high time also our sports press understand what preparation about sports or preparing an athlete to become elite is. It's not government's work. It's an individual's work. It's your parents' work. It could be your school's work to prepare you, but not the government. Take another quick break. When I come back, I'll give you my point-blank opinion again on what it is to prepare for the Olympics. Welcome back. Again, you're watching Point Blank, and I'm giving you my honest opinion about Nigeria's preparation for the Olympics. Nigeria has submitted I think we have about 78 athletes going to this year's Olympics. Ghana has 16. I'm yet to find out how many South Africa is taking, but they're probably taking more than us because South Africa has a very well what you call really a developmental program for sports. So they are always ready. I can tell you that they don't try to get ready every 4 years. And that is what we have believed happens. You don't get ready in 4 years for the Olympics. You know, if we're going to use, every known model in sports development or sports training, it takes you 10 years to really be good. Or no, let's put it away, it takes you 10,000 hours, for you to be good at anything. And like I said, the Olympics is the apex, is the limit, it's the elite competition where everybody wants to be. And even the Olympic motto really kind of tells you it's not about winning, it's about participation. You want to be there. Once you're there, you are called forever an Olympian. Now, that's the mistake we make in Nigeria. We seem to see this more in 4-year circles. Absolutely not. It should never be. We should not even try developing or trying to put together something we call sports development and make it on a 4-year circle. Sports development is a continuous thing. It's almost like a pipeline of bringing out the best. Now, we look at someone that is going to his 5th Olympic, the great American swimmer, Michael Phelps. He's going to his 5th Olympics. I think he first went to the Olympics at 16. He's now 31, I think. He's going to his 5th. Now, at 16, but he's been swimming for a long time. At 16, I think he won a bronze or something. He's the most decorated athlete ever at the Olympics with the most number of medals. But do we know the hard work he's put in? Do we believe that the federal government of America, the United States government, had anything to do with his success? It's all about him. It's all about his personal desires. We should get away from thinking that the government can force us to run. The government cannot. The government can't force us to run. The government can't force us to swim. The only thing the government is there for is to protect us when things go around. Now, when I talk about protection, still about the Olympics though, let me just dive in a little bit to what is happening here. The Dream Team 6, as they call them, is right now where? They're in Atlanta. And there's been a back and forth between the minister and the Football Federation about who sent them there, who's paying for them there. Does the minister know about it, or the minister doesn't know about it? How can a group of almost 30 men disappear out of Nigeria in the name of sports, and the Minister of Sports says he knows nothing about it or even cares nothing about it? How can the Football Federation send grown men out of this country without informing the ministry? Even though people might think that that's a contradiction in what I'm saying, that the ministry or the government has nothing to do with it. Now we still use the ministry. Somehow, somewhere, there should have been acknowledgement on either side. But I hear there were some shenanigans, and that is why there's this back and forth. I cannot confirm any of that, but they said there were some issues about trying to load the team with people who were not players, and the Football Federation refused, and that's why the minister, I don't know. But that's the story that's going around. Either way, it's unfortunate that we're having this kind of back and forth at this time of a country in 2016 where everything needs to be very transparent. It's unfortunate. But here is my last word on this Olympics and its preparation. Nigeria, it's about time we realize that just because of the way we are, the way we have developed so far, there's just going to be some sports, there's just going to be some sporting events that we're not going to be able to be good in. And I'll give you a good example. I mentioned swimming about my nephew a few minutes back. No matter what we do, I don't see a Nigerian ever winning a medal in an event like swimming. I'm not going to say never, really, but it's going to be tough because we don't have what I consider built-in advantages to be good at swimming. What are the built-in advantages for swimming? To be an Olympic swimmer, you're talking of 5 to 7 hours of swimming daily for years. There's just no way that is going to happen in Nigeria. How many high schools have a standard pool? A few private schools do have pools, but they're small bathroom-like pools. But you need a kid that can swim 2 hours before class and possibly 3 hours after class. He needs his own pool for himself. He needs to work that hard for years, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. That's a built-in advantage in a country like the United States. It's a built-in advantage in a country like South Africa, where even that kid in South Africa, even they don't have a pool, they do have a functioning system of development there. Where do we have our own built-in advantages? I've said it. We are built to run and jump. You don't need an awful lot of equipment to run and jump in Nigeria. We have enough fields that people can learn to run. But what is missing, and I say this again, what is missing is that we don't have certified coaches to groom the young in the right path to become elite. And that's a problem. Again, that has been my point-blank opinion, my point-blank statement, my point-blank idea about what the issues of Nigeria preparing for elite events or elite competitions like the Olympics. When I come back, because I'm going to take another break. When I come back, I'm going to touch on briefly as to what is happening around Nigerian football. So let's take that break and I'll be right back. Welcome back to Point Blank. Nigerian football. I don't want to call it a mess, but it's a confused, we're in a confused situation. I just talked about the under-23 team, the Olympic team, being in Atlanta, and we're having disputes about who sent them there and why are they there and all that. But here is another mess. The Football Federation, even on their website, announced they had hired a Frenchman, Li Guan, as the new technical advisor for the senior national team, the Super Eagles. Barely 24 hours later, we are hearing that the Frenchman hasn't really accepted the offer. And there are all types of reasons being given. That he didn't want to be forced to live in Nigeria. He doesn't like the 2-year contract. He doesn't want to have any kind of, giving him how we would grade him, which is qualify for the 2018 World Cup. The question for me is, how did the Football Federation come to a decision that they had hired a man that is now saying, no, I've not been hired and I've not accepted the offer? How did we get to that? I know I like to mention what year we are in, but we're in 2016. Did they even interview this man face to face? Did they sit with him? I have been fortunate enough to have been around big time hiring. I was once with a bigger university system, and I've been part of a hiring, an advisory group to hire a basketball coach for that university. I know how it works. You have 2 or 3 people in mind even before you fire the present coach or the coach that is let go. Or retire. You have 2 or 3 coaches that you think can replace or can come into your system and work. Once the other guy is gone, you make contact. You talk to them. Are you interested in this job? If he is, he would let you know. And once he lets you know, you take permission from his present employer and talk to them. You can fly him down or you can fly there. 2, 3 people can go talk to him. Get a feel for him. So I'm surprised that the Nigerian Football Federation tells us they've hired a coach. They actually post some of the things he's supposed to accomplish in his 2-year contract. And within 24 hours, it all goes wrong. We can't keep doing that. They always say, you can't reinvent the wheel. There are already ways to do certain things. You can only but just localize them. So why are we having a problem getting things right? It's sad. That is the most important sporting job in Nigeria. Being the head coach or the technical advisor of the Super Eagles. And we keep blowing it. But here is my point-blank opinion. I have written many times that I don't think we need a foreigner in that position. I've said if we need foreigners in any position in Nigerian football, it should be at the lower level. They will come in cheaper, they will be younger, and they will work harder in helping us develop players. At the senior level, there's very little a coach can do if you don't have well-bred players. Look, a country that has failed to qualify in the last 3 or 4 African championships tells you we don't have decent players. It's not coaching. It has nothing to do with coaching. 3 out of the last 4 in 5 years. And we think it's about that we don't have a coach? No, we just don't have good enough players or players that are willing enough to do the right thing. I don't know, but it has to do with players. Sport still has to do with the athlete. So when you see that, you got to be bothered that there's something wrong within the football system. And I hope they can correct it. That's it for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this week's edition of Point Blank. I'll be back with you next week. Bye-bye for now.